Hello and happy Friday, everybody. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today's Friday, November 3rd. Going to get started with today's live stream here momentarily. We'll give it another minute or so for people to join us. But if you are joining us, let us know where you're tuning in from. And make sure to smash the like, share the video with your network for anybody that can hop on here last minute. It was a bit short notice. Rod the man, the legend. Thanks for joining. Jem Losi. Going to get started here in 45 seconds or so. The one and only, you bet. Hi from California. Welcome, Henry. Hello from beautiful Edmonton, Alberta. Going to get started here in about a half a minute or so. I see we have over a dozen people joining already. So welcome to the live stream. We're going to get things kicked off here momentarily. Hopefully some great news. The Copperman. Nothing too earth-shattering that we haven't already gone over, but we'll go over what to expect in this big week ahead for MJ, and we'll do some technical analysis and some stock trading. What's up, Rod? Hector, what's up? This is it. Audio issues. I think it's coming through good for everybody else. If everybody else can let me know about the audio issues. Henry, it might be on your end. Hector, Copperman, Jamlosi, Henry, are you experiencing the same thing Henry is, or can you hear me loud and clear? The only thing that I have some issues with right now is my voice, because I woke up with a pretty nasty cold. I was getting back into the swing of things here today. Been pretty busy with getting a couple condos ready, as I mentioned, and also moving myself and my girlfriend into a bigger unit, and it's been very busy. And then was excited to get back into the swing of things today, and then I woke up with a pretty nasty cold, so that kind of derailed me a little bit, but I'm going to power through it here today. It is good. Okay, cool. You're cutting in and out. Might be on your end then, Henry. Everybody else said they hear loud and clear, and it's okay. So you may want to just refresh your internet or check your internet connection. Loud and clear, yep. So it seems like everybody else is coming through good, Henry. So thanks for letting me know, but just double check your things on your end. All right, so we're going to get started. As I mentioned, today is Friday, November 3rd. Happy Friday. Hope you have a great weekend ahead as well. But we'll get things kicked off here, and we'll try to keep this short and sweet. I'll go through the sector. We'll do some sector analysis. And greetings from Austria. Awesome. Welcome to the live stream. I jumped out and back in, and that solved it. Perfect. Great to hear. All right, well, I'm going to jump into the chat here toward the end. I'm going to kind of ignore it here for the time being so I can continue my train of thought. But thanks for everybody for letting me know where you're tuning in from and joining the live stream today. And once again, happy Friday. We're going to be discussing the big week ahead for MJ stocks. We're also going to take a look at the charts, and we're going to do some analysis. I'll kind of do some in-depth analysis on a lot of our names in the US and in Canada to kind of get a feel for where we're at and what names are kind of stronger versus the weaker names. And then, like I said, we'll look at what to expect in terms of price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. I'll give my thoughts and opinions and technical analysis. And then we'll look at the big week ahead in terms of fundamentals and news catalysts going into next week as well. Before we get to it, though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future videos or whenever I go live. And yeah, I noticed YouTube just did some more updates. So it's a little bit different here now. But yeah, essentially, they've been doing a lot of updates to the platform, both on mobile and desktop. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing right now. I liked it the way it was before. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But I guess we can't be resistant to change because change is inevitable. But yeah, make sure to give us a follow on X as well, which is previously Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. Again, the handle for that is @GroupPow. And now when you go on the computer on your desktop or laptop, you just have to click on that this place here, the description, and that'll bring up the About section. And then these are all the products and services and links that I use each and every day. And you can also check out powmerch.ca, which you can score some POW swag and some MJ swag on there as well, and it helps support the channel. Really appreciate it. And over 25 orders so far. I really do appreciate from the bottom of my heart. Love each and every one of you supporting me along the way. It's been a journey, and looking forward to making videos as long as I'm on this earth, to be honest. I'm going to be continuing to cover this amazing industry, medicine of the future, and it's going to be an exciting couple of months ahead, in my opinion. Excuse me. Got a frog in my throat, and I'm going to try to power through this here today. I just finished I think it was like a 35-minute private live stream for the POW Group private members, and yeah, I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can here today, power through this cold. So MJ Biz Daily hearing set for challenge to adult use MJ appearing on Florida ballot. So that is the Florida Supreme Court set a date of November 8th to hear oral arguments as to whether adult use MJ legalization initiative can appear on the state's November 2024 ballot. So we're heading into an election year as well. And I think what more than likely what we're going to see is we're going to see a full-fledged alt season, and we're going to see crypto really start to kick it into high gear, and then we can continue to see tech stocks like your AI and whatnot. Mega cap tech stocks are going to continue to trend higher, and then once they enter a prolonged bear market, that's when I think MJ is really going to steal the spotlight, and that could happen into next year, where we actually had some news as well from. Let's just go over to the POW Group private community and look at some of the news that transpired here today. So RFK Jr. releases presidential campaign ad calling for MJ legalization to end addiction. So again, we're already starting to see this as a very common topic in the campaign races for the elections in 2024. And me being Canadian, I could care less who wins on either side of the aisle. I am the least political person you'll ever meet. All I want is what's good for the MJ industry. And, crypto, but I'm more focused on, 80%, 90% of my focus and my specialty is in MJ, and that's my passion, right? I love technology and I love crypto and blockchain, but I'm definitely put on this earth to spread the MJ gospel, so to speak. But we're going to start to see more of this. And then I think, over the next few years, we're really going to start to see MJ at the forefront. And this is kind of what I've been expecting for a while now. But other news on the day today, nothing really. Study finds that Ohio MJ legalization would generate $260 million in net economic benefits. There's not really much other than that, but I do want to mention big tech earnings coming in next month as well. Big MJ earnings. We just had big tech earnings, and we're going to take a look at the MJ earnings to expect next week. But this is going to be a massive catalyst. I think Florida is going to be a massive market, and then we could see Ohio as well, which is going to be another important market. And New York, we're starting to see game theory just playing out. More and more states, more and more more and more countries, more and more companies starting to embrace this medicine of the future and this amazing industry. So that'll be on Wednesday next week. So we should see some updates from that, and in my opinion, that could kickstart it. I think I did a video for private members earlier, and I did a post on X saying that the DXY negated the weekly bull flag, and that's good for stocks and crypto, but SPY hasn't confirmed a daily uptrend yet. So SPY went from about 409 all the way up to 436 today without confirming a daily uptrend. So I'm expecting a down day, a red day for the S&P 500 on Monday and Tuesday, potentially, and that will be headwinds for MJ. And then I think we could form a higher low on the daily time frame in the broader market, and then in MJ we should see a weekday to begin the week, I think next week, and then potential for daily uptrends to confirm into the midweek around November 8th, and then right after November 8th, Florida arguments for the adult use initiative in 2024 and Florida ballot for 2024. We have big earnings, big MJ. I don't know why I keep saying big tech, but big MJ earnings coming up. So we have Cannabis Growth to report financial results on November 9th. And there's a ton of other companies. I'll just announce the big ones, but Trulieve as well on November 9th. And then we have Aurora, November 9th. And then SNDL, so previously Sundial, SNDL reports on Monday, November 13th. So it's going to be a big week ahead. And like I said, this is probably the most important right here is Florida on the ballot for 2024, and that's on the 8th. I'm also hearing a lot of rumblings that the SEC has some closed-door meetings next week as well, which there's a lot of rumors speculating that it could be a spot Bitcoin ETF approval. If that gets approved, oh man, the whole market, right? The broader market, stocks, crypto, everything, MJ, probably going to explode because we're going to see massive euphoria in the market, and that's going to be good. It's going to likely push the DXY down, and that's going to be tailwinds for the MJ space. And if we can get, combine that with a positive outcome here from the Florida hearing, and then some good earnings into next week, and then we could even see the DEA come back realistically anytime over the next several weeks with a recommendation they should respond to that recommendation of Schedule 3 from HHS. We have the MJ Act up for review here in Canada. We have safer banking, right, uplisting the NYSE and the NASDAQ. We're seeing other MSOs, so multi-state operators, uplist to the TSX as well. Cureleaf looking to do so after TerraSend was the first. And then we could see massive uplisting mania to the NYSE and the NASDAQ for these MSOs over the next, call it 6 to 12 months, in my opinion. But realistically, I think we could get an announcement from the DEA between now. Charts are looking primed. Between now and the end of the year, we get DEA sign off on Schedule 3, and then it has to go to the DOJ, Department of Justice, DOJ, as far as I'm aware. And then it has to go through a few other regulatory hoops. And then at some point in 2024, I think that's when it will get enacted, and then we'll see 280E go away. And at that point, we're more than likely going to start a multi-year bull market, and many millionaires and generational wealth is going to be created. So it's very exciting times in the MJ industry. I think over the next couple of weeks, we could set a bottom and then really start to kick it into full force into the end of the year here. And then Germany's had to come online as well. There's other countries embracing it, and Switzerland, I think, is trialing it. So we're seeing lots of catalysts coming down the pipeline. We could see legalization of medical in the U.S. as well. So tons of things to be on the lookout for. And again, I didn't go over all of the earnings. It's just I just wanted to give the main ones there that a lot of the retail investors are going to be looking at, and we're going to be really paying attention to those. But in my opinion, the most important thing is going to be this Florida ballot hearing on November 8th. And then, like I said, keep an eye out for DEA response from the HHS recommendation. So we'll take a look at the Canadian MJ market, and then we'll look at the US MJ market. So we'll start with HHMJ, which is the ETF here in Canada, the Horizons Life Sciences. If we take a look at the monthly time frame, so we had the low there at 804 and we hit 807. So basically we are double bottoming off of that support, and that is the all-time low. So if we hold that key support there at 804, we're going to form a higher low, and we need to break above resistance there at 1149 to be back in a monthly uptrend. We haven't confirmed a monthly uptrend since back in November of 2020. That was when Dems took control of the Senate on hopes of U.S. legalization. We know they did absolutely diddly squat, and then we entered a monthly downtrend and a brutal multi-year bear market. And that's generally what happens with these new, nascent, emerging, burgeoning industries is we see hard, fast, explosive moves to the upside over a course of 6 months to a year. And then the bear markets, where we can see 10, 20, maybe even 25 plus X, right? $1,000 investment into $20,000 over a short period of time. Look what happened. This was all realistically here from the time we confirmed the monthly uptrend on HHMJ. It only lasted 91 days, right? Some names more than others, but essentially, somewhere around that 6 to 12 month area. And then look how long this bear market has been. It's now going on 1,003 days. So again, this happens with tech stocks. It happens with any new industry that is nascent and it's starting from the bottom. Right now we're here, and it just takes a little while to start to build that market cap. So imagine, for example, Amazon, and I know you're going to get some people who are like, oh, look at them compare Amazon again. Well, yeah, duh. It's called data, and we're privy to data, and that's what we want to see is data. So if you go back to the data, it said, Amazon dropped 95% off the dot-com days, right after the dot-com bubble burst. What would it take for Amazon to drop 95% now, right? The market cap's in the trillions of dollars. That means like Armageddon would have to happen for it to lose 95% of its value. It just wouldn't happen, right? Whereas, Canopy, for example, or, some of these names that have a market cap of 50 million or 100 million, it only needs to shave off 50 million, right? To lose half of its market cap and half of its value. Whereas, and it would take a long time for Amazon to drop, 30, 40%. Whereas look at HHMJ over the last couple of months, it's down 30%, and that's an ETF, right? Some names like Canopy, off of its high from 34 cents to $2, just under $2 USD after HHS's recommendation, it's now down over 75% in like 40 days, right? So Amazon would never drop 40% or even 70%, right? It would never drop, 40 or 30% in that time span, let alone 75%. And the reason for that is because it's matured, right? The market cap is so big, it wouldn't make any logical sense unless the end of the world happened, right? Whereas MJ stocks being so low and so immature, right? The market cap is so low, it doesn't take that much to really knock it down and for these short sellers to have a field day, right? So again, as the market starts to mature, as we start to see crypto and MJ start to mature, it's just going to be diminishing returns. It's also going to be less of a pullback in bull markets, right? There's still going to be huge pullbacks in a bull market. you could see a 30-40% pullback in a bull market and still be bullish, right? Just because, some people say that, oh, we pulled back 30-40%. Well, a lot of people say if the S&P 500 drops 10%, then we're in a bear market, right? But it's all relative, right? So as we look to the future, 5, 10, 20 years from now, we won't see these long drawn out bear markets like we have been seeing, right? And the reason for that is because retail is so passionate about this industry, they have to drag it out as long as possible, right? People get investor fatigue, and once we're going a certain direction forever, it just feels like we're never going to switch, right? And same thing when we're going up, the media gets you bullish, and they continue to pump you with bullish articles, right? What was it? Tilray going to $1,000, right? Tilray gets to $60 and they say, oh, it's going to $1,000, right? And then they just lock you in perma bull, and then we enter a multi-year bear market, and then it feels like we're going to go down forever, and then inevitably we shift, right? So it's all about monthly uptrends right now on our ETFs. We need monthly uptrends to confirm. There's some names that are already doing so, which we'll take a look at those outliers and leaders in the space. And the more names that do that, the better, right? The more ETFs in Canada and US, the retailers in US and Canada, just everything at large, right? The more names in the MJ sector that are in monthly uptrends, that have golden crosses, that have weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses, which we know has been some time. The last time HHMJ had an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross was back again in November of 2020. So it has now been 1,078 days since we saw a bull cross of these weekly EMAs. We had a bear cross here. Price went from about $43 down to $8. We had a bull cross here when price was at around $27. And we went up to 74. So now we're gearing up for another potential weekly bull cross of these EMAs, which again is the first time since November 2020, and we're way more beaten down than we were this time around. So I would say that the potential for exponential returns is even greater this time around as we look to the biggest catalyst of our lifetime, which is, Schedule 3 recommendation, potentially removal of 280E, and then eventually full-blown legalization in the US. We know there's a lawsuit as well. A lot of the MSOs are filing a lawsuit, which is unconstitutional in the US. So again, it's going to take a while for these lawsuits, right? They got to go through the judicial process. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be months and maybe even years. So, I'm not banking on that too much. But again, we're going to start to see an election year next year. We're going to start to see more and more states come online. Florida's going to be pivotal. And we're just going to continue to look at the technicals. And the more names that have EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses, monthly uptrends confirmed, and golden crosses, we'll be confident that the bear market is over. So again, Tilray is an example. We had a bull cross of the EMA 12 and 26, but we haven't confirmed a monthly uptrend yet. So we have the low, high, higher low. We need the higher high. We haven't got the higher high yet. And I did a video yesterday on Tilray. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out. But we had hidden RSI, bullish RSI divergence with higher lows, higher high on the RSI. And then we had lower high, lower low on the price action, which is hidden bullish RSI divergence. Then we also had it gearing up for an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross in the daily time frame. And we had an hourly bull flag which played out to perfection today. I mentioned yesterday that low to high, it's all about support and resistance. It's not about confirming we're going up or we're going down. It's about looking at data, looking at support and resistance, and confirmation and invalidation. So in this instance, I said to invalidate it, to not expect this bull flag to play out and this bullish pattern continuation to play out, we needed to lose 180. What didn't we do today? We didn't lose 180. Okay, so if we don't lose, if then statement, if we don't lose 180, then bull flag remains. Okay, now what was the other? That was support. Now, what about resistance and confirmation? We did the support and invalidation. Now we're doing resistance and confirmation. Simple if then statement again. If 187 resistance breaks, then bullish bull flag, bullish continuation pattern confirmed, and we take the measured move from low to the high, move it out to the 0.382 fib, and there you go. It says we were targeting 198, and just like clockwork, we hit 199, right? Did I have a crystal ball? Do I know how to predict the future? Absolutely not. Do I know how to look at charts and look at the most probable outcome and probabilities? Yes, I do, right? The more confluence, right? Confluence just means if 8 out of 10 indicators that we love and have a high probability of playing out to a certain direction, if 8 out of 10 indicators say we're going up, well, I'm going to bet that we're going up. If 8 out of 10 indicators that we like are saying we're going down, well, then I'm going to flip to bearish, right? And in this instance, it was looking extremely bullish. And then we had SPY extremely bullish today as well. So this is technical analysis 101. And I said, watch out for a potential inverse head and shoulders as well on the daily time frame, because we haven't confirmed a daily uptrend yet. This is all coming off of the low, and the S&P 500 is all coming off of the low, and we're likely due for a daily higher low on the S&P 500, which would be daily headwinds for the MJ sector. So leading into next week, if the S&P 500 loses the low of the day today on Monday, daily consolidation will be underway. We'll look for a higher low and a higher high and a daily uptrend to confirm on the S&P 500. That'll more than likely translate to daily consolidation on Tilray and in the MJ sector for the most part. So 186, the low of the day today. If we lose that on Monday on Tilray, we start daily consolidation. Then if we hold $1.75, that's a potential right shoulder and an inverse head and shoulders. So you take the measured move from the neck, the head to the neck, and it's saying we could be targeting roughly around 230, 232, right? And again, it's all about support and resistance. If we get above the neckline, close above that neckline there around $1.98, then we negate it, right? And then we just look for the bounce to continue, and then we come down, form a higher low at some point. But right now, we're looking as the most likely scenario with the S&P 500 due for consolidation, more than likely going to see daily consolidation on Monday or Tuesday, in my opinion. So we'll just go through some names here real quickly. So ACB dropping to a monthly lower low, Aurora, one of the weaker names in the space. I mean, granted, it did go from 43 cents up to $1.15 on that mania of HHS recommendation, so about 160+%, but we're dropping to monthly lower lows. So this is one of the weaker names and a reason why I do not own Aurora, because I just don't, I think there's a lot better opportunities. Excuse me. Man, this cold is brutal. I think there's just a lot better opportunities out there. Personally, I don't consume any other products. I don't like any other products. I don't like any other brands. I don't like any of the management. I just don't like the company whatsoever. I would never give them $1 of mine to support any of their products, right? I'd hate them all. So their fundamentals suck. Their technicals suck. Why would I ever invest in them? If you're looking at expansion into the European markets, okay. Medical markets, okay. Maybe, but I think there's other companies that are better at that. And yeah, I don't see the point of maybe if you want to do a small YOLO position, like the most I'd ever put into Aurora is like $1,000. I've never invested in an Aurora. I never would, unless something monumental changes, but that's just my own personal opinion. And again, it's dropping to a monthly lower low when a lot of names are confirming monthly uptrends. BZAM, so it's 2 monthly inside bars in a row. So we started the monthly bounce here in the month of September, but a very weak bounce. And in fact, it's actually a monthly bear flag. If we take a look from the high to the low there, it was a perfect bear flag and very, very weak. And it said we could take the measured move here from the 0.382 fib. It said we were targeting about 15 cents, and we got as low as 11.5 cents, right? So again, technical analysis does work, and you just need to know what you're doing, what you're looking for. But this could be a nice play here, playing off of these 2 monthly inside bars. So if we break 17.5 cents, that'd be a potential for a swing trade. And if we go back to EMA 12, that'd be about 100% of upside from there. So BZAM could be a nice play here, swing trade if we do start the monthly bounce. CGC, low, high, forming the higher low now. Now we need the higher high to be in a monthly uptrend. And again, we need monthly uptrends, golden crosses, and weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses. Look how long it's been since CGC saw its weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, right? Again, back in November 2020. And now we're gearing up for this. We were gearing up for it here. We got above it. And this is generally what happens. We come down, we see that final capitulation and accumulation and fake out and shake out of retail, right? Suckers rally. It's that disbelief phase, right? We're just going to continue to go low forever. Sector's dead. And then people capitulate here, and then that's when we confirm monthly uptrends, right? That's generally what happens when we see these shakeouts as we enter a new potential multi-year bull market. And we're coming off monthly oversold as well, which again, if you know nothing about technical analysis and you just buy when we're closer to oversold and sell when we're closer to overbought, you would do better than like 99% of traders out there. But people, they don't want to buy anything unless it's, popular, and investing in stocks and crypto is most often a popularity contest. I like to buy when things aren't popular, right? And right now, we are not popular in MJ. A lot of people are saying this time is different, but until we confirm monthly uptrends and weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses and golden crosses across the sector, this time is not different. Am I leaning on the side of this time being different? Yes, but we haven't got confirmation yet. And then CGC, still a ways away before we see a golden cross with the 50 below the 200-day crossing. That is called a golden cross. Last time, again, that happened was in November of 2020, and the Dems taking control of the Senate on hopes of U.S. legalization. But Tilray, another leader in the space, has already saw its golden cross. And then Curaleaf, one of the strongest names in the sector as well, really starting to see, we dropped significantly lower than those daily moving averages, but it's been a while now. It's been, a few weeks since that golden cross occurred. But again, we're just holding monthly supports, key monthly supports. So again, CGC looking for its higher low. And just real quickly, I want to bring up Cureleaf as an example of what we're looking for. So we have the low, high, higher low. How do we know it's a higher low? Because we lost the low of the previous candle, which means that's you're starting consolidation. But this low here is higher than this low. So that's a higher low. And then the high of the bounce was 568. So again, what is an uptrend? Higher lows and higher highs. What is a downtrend? This, lower highs and lower lows. So what do we know here? We have our low, our high of the bounce, our higher low compared to this low. And then on this monthly candle here in September, we got our higher high. We broke this high of the bounce. So we had the low, high, higher low, and higher high. Now we came back right down to monthly support at 345 and we hit 348. So basically a double bottom, and it's holding. So the monthly uptrend is still intact as long as we hold 345. So if you're looking for a long-term entry on Cureleaf, that was the entry there. But I mean, realistically, we're still current levels. We're still only about 20% away from that monthly support. So that was a nice entry opportunity to go long, even with a quick stop below 296, right? And this could be a multi-year bear market being set and finishing and potentially entering a multi-year bull market. So again, the more names that confirm monthly uptrends like Cureleaf, the better. And AYR is another name. Low, high, higher low, and higher high. Again, in that month of September, confirmed that monthly uptrend. Trulieve hasn't confirmed the monthly uptrend yet, but it's working on the higher low. So that's what we're looking for. So we'll just go through the Canadian names here. So monthly higher low forming on CGC, all about the low there at 34 cents and resistance at $1.92. If we hold 34 cents on this monthly pullback and consolidation and then come back up, start the monthly bounce and come up and break $1.92, it's monthly uptrend confirmed. And again, write down on a piece of paper. We need monthly uptrends to confirm. We need weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses, and we need golden crosses with the 50-day coming up through the 200-day moving average. If all those three things happen on CGC, and then, on a lot of our MJ names in Canada, a lot of our MJ names in the US, a lot of our ETFs in MJ in Canada, a lot of our retailers in MJ in Canada and the US, then we're pretty confident, as close to 100% as we can be. Nothing's ever guaranteed. The only guarantee is no guarantees, but, we're as confident as we can be. So we'll go through this here. Look at the big names. So Cron, very close to seeing its weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, sitting on a ton of cash. We have the low, high, lower low. So failed attempt there, but essentially a double bottom. But we have our low, high here, now forming the higher low. So if we hold the low there at 164 and break resistance at 264, then monthly uptrend confirmed there. So we're still a long ways away. We would have to go another 42% to confirm that monthly uptrend on Cron. High Tide, one of my favorite MJ stocks out there. We have our low, no real. We had monthly lower high and lower low. So yeah, we haven't confirmed a monthly uptrend yet. Low, high, and we haven't even started the higher low yet. And 2 monthly inside bars here as well. So we need that higher low and higher high. So High Tide could see a little bit more struggles ahead, but that'll just be healthy in my opinion as we look for that higher low. We did have our weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. So again, that's one, tick that off, right? The more names that do that, the better. And the last time that happened again was in November 2020, and High Tide went from about $2 all the way up to 13. Then we had the bear cross with the 12 above the 26, the shorter term above the longer term, and that happens, it's a bear cross, and we saw tons of downside, right? Went from $13 to $1. Now we're gearing up for this bull cross, and we saw tons of upside, but what do we still know that we need to do? We got one of our major factors out of the way, right? We needed to confirm that weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, but we still haven't confirmed a monthly uptrend. We need the higher low and the higher high. So we still got a long way to go here, at least a couple of months in my opinion. And then High Tide, golden cross already happened. So 2 out of 3 things that we need to do for High Tide has already been done. So if you're looking for a nice entry on High Tide, wait for monthly consolidation. How do we know monthly consolidation is underway? If we lose the low of last month at $1.33, then maybe come down, form a higher low around $1.20, $1.10, and then we should be off to the races. And then we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on the monthly, which would be the first time in history. HHMJ, like I said, double bottom, looking for its higher low. LOVE, low, high, looking for a higher low now. So key resistance is going to be 115. on love. Break 115, and we're likely heading to $1.50 in my opinion on Canara. MJ ETF, weaker compared to HHMJ, dropping to a monthly lower low. We're still in a downtrend here with lower highs and lower lows. So lower high, lower low. So we still have to start the monthly bounce and then a higher low and higher high. So again, I think we're at least a few months away before we really start to see massive upside in MJ. Doesn't mean we can't see some decent gains over the next few weeks and months, but I think it's going to be, maybe 3 to 6 months before we really start to see the whole MJ sector at large, throw a dart and you win, basically. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult than that over the next few months, but realistically over the next 6+ months, it's probably just going to be that throw a dart scenario where you pick one and you win. But obviously you want to be very, very strategic and careful and do your due diligence and research on what names you're picking. NOVC, so Nova, MJ. We have low, we're pretty choppy here at the moment. So we have our low, high, 2 monthly inside bars in a row, topping out at monthly EMA 12. Still need that higher low and higher high. OGI, one of our weaker names as well. Look at that, dropping to monthly lower lows. Still in a monthly downtrend. So we haven't even started the monthly bounce yet to give us that low and higher low and higher high. So again, I think we're at least 3 to 6 months away before the whole MJ sector really starts to see some euphoric throw a dart scenario. SNDL, low, high, higher low. Now we just need the higher high. And it's a monthly inside bar at the moment. Kill rate, again, low, high, higher, low. We need that higher high. So in order to confirm, we need to go another 76% to confirm that monthly uptrend. So it's likely going to be a couple months as well, at least a month or two on till rate before we confirm that monthly uptrend. Could it happen sooner? Still 27 days left in this month. It's possible, given the right catalyst, but not the most probable, in my opinion. EFF, we have our low, high, forming the higher low. So again, we're halfway there on a lot of names on our monthly uptrends. A lot of names are holding their supports, their key monthly supports, and they're looking for their higher lows. What have we yet to do is get the higher high. So we're about halfway there. Oxley continues to be one of the weaker names as well. Barely any volume, even on the monthly time frame, coming off monthly oversold. This is a great risk to reward opportunity, though. MedMen's another name where you could throw $1,000 into it and make $500,000. It goes back to an all-time high. Most you can lose is $1,000, right? If you bought Oxley here at a penny and it goes back to its all-time high, that's a 302x. So a $1,000 investment into $300,000. So again, I put about $1,000 into MedMen, $1,000 into Oxley. Do I think they're going to stand the test of time in 5-10 years like I do, Tilray and Curaleaf and CGC? Probably not. I think they're more of a bio target, but what if they do? What if they just go back to all-time highs? That's life-changing wealth, right? On a very small investment. Even $100,000 you can turn into, 30,000, or even $100 you could turn into like 30,000, right? So your downside is limited. You know how much you're risking, and the upside is unlimited, right? If we go back to all-time highs. So these names, these are kind of the YOLO bucket, right? You only live once, and you only use a small amount of capital. I would never invest any more than $1,000 into Oxley or MedMen or something like that, right? But it is great reward versus the risk at these prices. So that's pretty much it for Canadian MJ. Let's go through US MJ. So US MJ, we'll start with MSOS, the main ETF that tracks all of the US operators. So we have our low, high, whole move back from HHS recommendation, but again, we're just looking for monthly higher lows. While everybody thinks that the sector's dead and we're going to zero, again, we're still holding key monthly support there at 478. So we hit a low of 492. Now it's a monthly inside bar. If we hold that support at 478 and come up and break resistance at 988, we're in a monthly uptrend. Again, all about support and resistance, confirmation and then validation. So it's still at least a month or two away as well. Like I said, barring any unforeseen news, I don't think it's going to happen this month. Could it happen? Yes, but again, not the most likely scenario. Acreage hasn't even started monthly consolidation yet. 2 monthly inside bars that are in a row. So low, high, and still in a monthly downtrend. So low, high, we still got a lot of work to do here. We still need the higher low and then the higher high, so not even close to 50% of the way there. AYR, again, monthly uptrend already confirmed. So Air Wellness and ticker symbol AYR and Curaleaf definitely standing out as the strongest in all of MJ. AYR, low, high, higher low, and higher high, now forming another higher low. So going up the stairs, and you can even form a nice trend line if you like looking at trend lines. But I'm not a big fan of trend lines. Most of you know that. I mean, they can be useful. But again, I'm more of a trend. I like different indicators, right? Certain patterns and indicators, and just uptrends and downtrends, right? And then combining all of that confluence. When 8 out of our 10 indicators are saying bullish, then I'm bullish. If 8 out of our 10 indicators or 10 out of 10 of our indicators are bearish, then I'm bearish, right? Regardless if a trend line is holding. And trend lines are very subjective, and some people use the wick, some people use the real candle body, some people use log scale, some people use regular linear scale. So, it's very subjective, and trend lines are not always the most accurate. They can be. It's another tool that you can use for sure, right? If you're 10 out of 10 indicators are bullish and you're holding a trend line, well, add that to the bullish case, right? But like I said, I'm just not a huge fan of trend lines, because that's like the first thing people learn as a technician, or when you're doing charting, is people learn a trend line, right? And that's what that's what people like these market makers and these institutions know, right? The first thing people learn is trend lines, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. But what people don't realize is how to combine broader market analysis with geopolitical events and fundamentals and technicals, and then the different indicators on the technicals, right? Like golden crosses and weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses, monthly uptrends. Like, it took me like 2 or 3 years just to understand what a monthly uptrend and downtrend was, right? So that's why I created the course. If you go to powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com, you can sign up for our academy course, and I teach what a monthly uptrend and a downtrend is, and a ton of other stuff as well, right? There's over 30 modules in 3 chapters, and it's only $9.99 Canadian, so like $6 cup of coffee at Starbucks in the US, right? So I teach. It took me like 2 or 3 years, and I've been able to teach people how to do it in like 2 or 3 days, right? So, and again, most people don't want to teach you because they want you to charge. They want to charge you like thousands of dollars, whereas I'm not all about that, right? I try to teach people on these live streams for free, but quite often than not, that's how I learned, was on YouTube for free, and it took me years. Whereas if you have somebody that you can do coaching, I do coaching as well, or if you have like a interactive quiz like I do, and a learning session in the Academy course, I can hopefully cut that down from years to days. AYR, like I said, one of the most bullish names out there. BAM, seeing lots of up 38% today, body and mind, but low, high, higher, low, looking for the higher high, but very close. Right now, only 26% away from confirming a monthly uptrend. So if we break 15 cents, like heading up to 30 cents in a hurry. Cresco Labs, CL, we have the low, high, forming the higher low now. So still about halfway away from confirming the monthly uptrend. Break 378 from here and hold 135. We hold 135 and break 378, monthly uptrend confirmed. So again, as you can start to see, we still got at least a month or two, bare minimum. Like I said, unless we get some monumental news that comes out and sends prices up, 100%, 200% in like a couple of days or in a week or two. But I just don't see that as the most likely scenario. But Cureleaf, low, high, higher low, and higher high, holding that higher low pattern, all about 345. But already in a monthly uptrend, so again, one of our stronger names, already seeing a golden cross as well. CWeb, looking for its monthly higher low now, and not too far away from confirming a monthly uptrend. Don't fall asleep on CWeb, Charlotte's Web. CXXI, low, high, higher low, higher high. It's actually in a monthly uptrend as well. Could be another name that has high risk, high reward. FLGC, monthly inside bar, monthly lower low, week. GRWG, monthly inside bar, lower low, week. GTII, we have our low, high, higher low, need the higher high. So we're about 35% away from confirming the monthly uptrend there. Weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross occurred. And then I think we had a golden cross as well. Yep. So we're almost there. 2 out of 3 major factors that we need to accomplish, right? Now we need the monthly uptrend. So we're close. IIPR, low, high, higher low. Again, very, very close. Starting the monthly bounce, breaking last month's high. So it's all about 87.81. Break 87.81, monthly uptrend confirmed. And full send mode likely coming after that. LGLZ, new ETF, not very liquid, but up almost a couple bucks there off of the low. Not enough data to go off of. MedMen, low, We have our low, high, higher low, higher high. Actually, MedMen's in an uptrend right now. So 2 cents is going to be key support to hold. And then key resistance 5 cents. We break 5 cents, we're probably heading up to, I would say, 10 to 15 cents in a hurry. MRMD, monthly consolidation underway. So MariMed, low, high, higher low, and higher high. Actually, that was all in the same candle, so we wouldn't really consider that one. Then we drop to a lower low here. So we have our low, high, higher low, all about 30 cents support, and then resistance at 73. If we hold 30 cents and break 73 from here, monthly uptrend confirmed. MSOS again, forming its higher low, needs the higher high. PLTH, Planet 13, low, high, higher low, needs the higher high. So common trend right now. And observation is we're forming monthly higher lows on a lot of names, but we still need the higher highs. A few outliers like Cureleaf, AYR, right? Those are in monthly uptrends. POTX, monthly lower high, lower low, still in a downtrend, very, very weak. RWB, yeah, nowhere near. We have our low, high, higher low. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing dropped to a lower low though. Schwaz, lower low, weak. TAT continues to get destroyed. I took a YOLO position on this one. I'll only put like max $500 into this thing. But again, this is another one of those YOLO positions where, if we even go back to all-time highs, you're looking at 300x from here. $1,000 investment into 300,000, $500 into 150,000, right? TC, NNF, and TrueLeaf. So again, looking for that higher low, needs the higher high. Verano, low, high, higher low, needs the higher high. And then YOLO ETF dropped to a monthly lower low, nowhere near confirming a monthly uptrend. So MSOS, by far the most bullish US MJ ETF. Not to be surprised, it has the most volume, right? All-time high record monthly volume as well back in September. It's what we want to see near a bottom, and you want to see, multiple hundreds of percent of bounces off of the bottom. When it's an ETF, we bounce over 100%, so that's good because it's an ETF. It takes a lot for an ETF to bounce 100%. Some names went up almost 500%, like CGC, right off its lows. And that's not uncommon for an individual MJ name to do that, but for an ETF, 100% is a lot, especially in a couple months. So hopefully as I go through this, people can start to understand that, technical analysis isn't about, me coming on here and say, we're going to this price because I said so. And we're going to this price because, I just woke up today and decided and I pulled it out of my you-know-what, right? It's, you look at the chart, you look at the most likely scenario, you look at the broader market, and if all of this is too cumbersome and confusing, which it is for 99% of people, well, that's why I created this POW group and this channel, was to dumb it down and explain it to you like you were 5 and hopefully cut years and years, which, I've been studying the financial markets for over 15 years now. I used to work for Invesco. So if you take a look at the QQQ, is the Invesco QQQ Trust, which tracks all of the major tech names. I used to work for this company, right? I almost became a financial advisor. I was one exam away from becoming a financial advisor, and I said, who the hell would want to do that? It's stressful enough managing my own money, let alone managing other people's, and then if something doesn't play out, they blame you. So I'd rather teach people how to manage their own money, how to manage their own emotions, and not to blame other people, right? Blame yourself. And how to hedge, how to have a game plan, because at the end of the day, you got to look after number one, right? And a lot of these financial advisors, they're just after the MER fee, right? They're going to charge you a management expense ratio and a fee for managing your portfolio. And I met with a financial advisor who scouted me out, and it was back up here when Netflix was at an all-time high. He's like, "Oh, just buy it. You're going to be retiring in like 30 years. It'll go higher in 30 years." And I'm like, yes, but it could go lower and I could buy it lower. And then it dropped like 80% in 6 months, right? So why in the hell would I listen to that guy? He's just after he has a family, right? Nothing against him, but at the end of the day, I know that they don't have my best interests at heart. Their first is their family and their own food on the table, and then they justify it, right? And then exactly what I hate about traditional financial markets. People aren't truthful. It's hard to find truth in today's world, especially in the financial markets. It's all deceit and lies and just artificial propping of the market. And, the media is all owned by, big tech and, all these, big companies and whatnot around the world. So it's just, once you learn financial markets, once you really start to, that was one thing that really was my aha moment with financial markets, is when I really started to pour my my time into it and learn. I was like, wow, you really start to see how the world works, and it's all revolved around a certain few companies, right? Like your JP Morgans, your Morgan Stanleys, your Goldman Sachs, your BlackRocks, your Van X, right? They control everything, right? Down to, the smallest commodity to the biggest commodity, to the smallest tech to the biggest tech, to the real estate, to everything, right? New York Stock Exchange, ICE, so, and then backed, right? All of these, it's funny, right? Even even Pfizer, I didn't know who the hell Pfizer was until the C19. Pfizer makes Advil. I was like, what? Oh, okay, that makes sense, right? It's like, you don't really know who these names are, and then a lot of these other names, like Johnson and Johnson, right? They literally have their fingers and hands and toes in every part of the world, right? So it's going to be the same with MJ, but hopefully going over these charts and just understanding the macroeconomic outlook as well. You don't have to be a macro expert, but you do have to put in your time, and there can be some shortcuts, but there's no shortcut to putting in time. And you might be able to cut down the amount of time, right? They say to be an expert, it takes 10,000 hours worth of studying to be an expert at anything, right? But hopefully with the right tools and the right assets and the right learning, modules and leadership and whatnot, you can cut that down from, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of hours, or even, down from years to days, right? Or years to months, or months to weeks. All right. Let's go through chat here. Hi from Georgia. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. You made me a believer of the gospel. Well, the MJ gospel, I'll forever be devoted to it. It's, like I said, it's medicine of the future. It's a plant. It's helping so many people on the planet. All of this stigma around zombies in the streets and all this like nonsense of suicide rates going up. It's like, get out of here, right? And we're all smart enough, right? It's like that. What's that song? Rich Men North of Richmond. They don't think you know, but we know that you do, right? I know that you do. They don't think we know, but we do, right? They think we're all a bunch of cockroaches, right? Like we're not worth anything. We don't understand what's at play, right? Their geopolitical and their political theater and agenda, right? But we know, right? What if the DA doesn't sign off? What will this mean? Will that mean new lows for MJ? So again, Florida ballot hearing on Wednesday, November 8th, is going to be extremely important. And then we could see a spot Bitcoin ETF approved over the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. Maybe even, if it doesn't happen before the end of the year, I'd be surprised. But I'm looking at the charts, and the charts are looking like they're ready to enter full send mode. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was sooner than later that we get a spot Bitcoin ETF, and that would absolutely explode markets, right? A lot of the same demographics that invest in MJ invest in crypto, and that'll be risk on, season for the market, and MJ very high risk, right? Just like crypto. Crypto highest risk in my opinion, and then MJ, and then maybe tech stocks. But given where we are right now, I would say MJ's lowest risk because we're down 90+% from February 2021 and all-time highs, whereas a lot of tech stocks are at all-time highs, right? Same with crypto, not too far away from all-time highs. And then we have some big earnings coming next week, so I wouldn't put too much weight behind the DEA signing off right now. And again, even if they do sign off, remember it has to go from the DEA to the DOJ, and then it has to go through other regulatory hoops as well. And I'm by no means a lawyer or expert with regards to U.S. Congress, but as far as I'm aware, it's HHS, started with Biden calling on them to review it. HHS recommended Schedule 3, then DEA either, approves or denies it, and then they work to craft how it would roll out, and then they work with the DOJ, and then the DOJ works with other executive branches, I'm pretty sure. So it could be, before the end of the year where we get DEA response, but then it could be, at some point, maybe even late 2024, where it actually gets enacted and rescheduled, and then the 280E goes away, right? So I think it's a little premature. It's a little early to be too concerned about that. But like I would put like a 60 to 70% chance that they're going to approve that Schedule 3 recommendation before the end of the year, just based on the charts as well. Wisconsin, still need weed here. Only hemp Delta 9 legal through Farm Bill. OGI bag holder at $1.38 average. That's not a bad average. And welcome from Wisconsin. Never been, but I'd like to go. Yeah, here in Canada, it's crazy. The MJ industry after 5 years, you can get an ounce, like 28 grams for like $60, $70, and it's not bad. I know you're thinking, it's probably garbage. It's like, it's actually not. And you can get anywhere from $80 to $100 to $200 a bag, but yeah, it's crazy. Like, you can get the Redican Reddies, which have the new filtration technology. They're coming out with a hemp paper. They're like $16 Canadian. So like $10, you get 10 joints. $10 US. It's like you go to the States and you pay $10, $15 for, sometimes $20 for a gram. And then you got to roll it. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. In the next 5-10 years, going to be amazing. Aurora earnings November 9th, debt free. Yep, I mentioned that earlier. Facts, you bet. Appreciate you doing these MJ stock analysis. Love the chart work. Thank you very much. Well, like I said, I put hundreds of thousands, if not, well, not hundreds of thousands. I put like hundreds and hundreds of hours into to charting and learning, and just I've been in the financial markets really since I started working for Invesco when I was like 18, and wanted to become a financial advisor, and then I decided against it. I worked in developing websites and IT for a long time, so I have that technical background. And yeah, I love MJ. I truly believe I was put on the earth to spread the MJ gospel and support this amazing industry in medicine in the future. And I'll be covering it, making videos until the day I die. I'll tell you that much right now. One thing with me is when I do something, I never quit, ever. So for any haters out there that think you're going to knock me down, think again. High tide. So I did go over high tide. Hopefully that helps. Smash that like, y'all. I would appreciate it as well. Thank you, Brian. Will Tilray go below $1? I doubt it. Yeah, it's all about 170, 150, and from there like 125, $1. But yeah, I can't see it going below $1 right now. Key support's holding on Tilray, and we're close to confirming a monthly uptrend. Smash the like, bro. Thank you very much, Oldie. I appreciate it. $1 will be possible, but not probable. Yeah, exactly. I would agree. Anything's possible, but I don't think it's probable. But again, you just kind of start with, you start in with support, right? You go down the stairs, right? Essentially. So if you look at Tilray, it's all about support. So we have 150 there, key monthly support, low, high, higher, low. If we break 340 from here, monthly uptrend confirmed. If we lose 150, then we confirm lower lows and we start over, right? We still need to confirm a monthly uptrend. So start with $1.50, then $1.25 psychological, and then we'll worry about $1. But just worry about $1.50 from now, I would say. Hey Rod, what is the yearly looking like on Tilray? Big TF, I know, but let's check it, please. Time frame. Okay, big time frame. Okay, I gotcha. Whoops. Just one sec. Man, this dry cough is killer. I had to get some water there too and cough my throat off. Hopefully back to my regular self here next week. Yeah, yearly chart not looking too hot, dropping to a lower low. Yearly downtrend as well with the high, low, lower high, and lower low. So first time we've ever confirmed a trend of any kind on the yearly time frame on the NASDAQ. TSX, again, after the whole merger with Afria. Yeah, so yearly downtrend. But here we're coming up to 2024 here in a couple months. All right, 2 months left of the year. And in my opinion, we could start the yearly bounce next year. So if we break 359 next year, then the yearly bounce will be underway. And then maybe we can confirm the first yearly uptrend in company history on Tilray. But right now we have the first downtrend and the first trend of any kind on the yearly time frame. 12-month candles. Some wonderful patterns forming in some MJ stocks. Yeah, absolutely. It's looking up. Still quite a bit of work to do though. Do you think Aurora and Canopy could merge? Hard to say. I do think Aurora will merge with someone. I just don't understand the value proposition with Aurora. I think they tried to be everything to everybody. They've just continued to downsize, like they're working on their debt, getting debt free. I don't want any company to fail. Let's put it that way, Paisley. I wish nothing but, success for everyone. But I got to be a realist before anything. And I've never ever, I bought some of their products. I never enjoyed them. I never liked them. From a fundamental to a technical perspective, I just couldn't justify getting behind the company. I just think there's a lot of better plays out there. But like I said, I invested in MedMen. I invested in, what was another one? Oxley. But I would never invest any more than like $1,000 into it. So I would put like Aurora under that category with, that YOLO play. Whereas if, like let's say at the low there at 41 cents and you bought, Aurora at $1,000, if we go back to all-time highs, that's the 361x, right? So $1,000 investment into $360,000, right? Would I put my life savings or a substantial amount of money into the stock? Absolutely not. I just think there's better names out there. Like I think Aurora will more than likely get acquired at some point, or it may even continue to be troubled, right? And I just, with, like I said, with some other names, like, some of the names in the U.S., especially with 280E looking to get removed, like Curaleaf said it would already be paying a dividend, and it's already paid over $350 million to the U.S. government just under 280E, right? So in some cases, 7 to 10% more tax than they're already paying from regular tax just from 280E. So imagine if they didn't pay that $350 million just under 280E to the U.S. government, that would hit their bottom line. And Boris Jordan, the executive chairman and co-founder of Curaleaf, said they'd already be paying a dividend. And he also believes that MJ is going to be high cash flowing businesses, which I agree. We're just so early. And there's still a lot of regulatory red hurdles and red tape and hurdles, right? So it's like, 280E is the biggest thing hindering the industry in the U.S. And then we still have so many laws and regulations and restrictions here in Canada. And then the rest of the world to follow suit. So like I wouldn't even say we're halfway done the first inning in a full baseball game. It's like tip of the iceberg. But again, just be very careful on Aurora. I know people who have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on this, and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, and this company started in Edmonton, Alberta. And just some of the horror stories I've heard. I had a good friend that their dad lost almost $250,000 on Aurora. If you look at all MJ, it's pretty much all down 90+% from all-time highs. But I never understood why people were so bullish on Aurora. But I wish it nothing but success, and you as well. But I would just be very cautious. That's all I'll say about that. Do you think it's worth going in now and having a stop loss on new lows for MSOX? So you're talking about the leveraged ETF. So it's 2x daily. It's only 2x. So generally I don't recommend leverage. Like if you're doing like 10x leverage, like in crypto, sometimes people are doing like 100x leverage, right? You just get liquidated and wrecked, right? Easily. But 2x daily leverage, not that big of a deal. You could enter now with a stop below 202, right? So you could risk, basically $1 to make upwards of, well, from current levels, let's say you put your stop loss under there, you could in terms of percentage, you'd risk like 30% to make, 150 to 200%. But monthly downtrend, lower high and lower low, still needs to confirm a monthly uptrend. So maybe you want to wait for a monthly uptrend to confirm. Maybe go long if it confirms a monthly uptrend, and we haven't even started the monthly bounce yet. So it's at least 2 to 3 months away before it confirms a monthly uptrend. But by the time we confirm a monthly uptrend, we're probably a lot higher, right? We could be at like $5-7 range. So it all depends on how much money you're putting in, how much risk you're willing to tolerate as well. And if you're putting $100,000 into this thing and your net worth is $100,000, well, you probably can't really afford that risk. If your net worth is $1 million and you're looking to put in, $50,000 or $100,000, well, that's a little bit different story. Or if you're putting in $1,000 and your net worth is $50,000, well, you probably don't really have much to worry about. But I personally own MSOS. I added it the other day at like 560. And I hit a low of 492. And then the all-time low there at 478. So, I mean, MSOX, like I said, it's not huge leverage. It's only 2x. So, I just wouldn't recommend holding it for the long term. I would rather MSOS for the long term. But I'll see if I can do a little bit more deeper dive into MSOX. I'm not as privy to that one. But 2x, a lot better than like 10x or 20x or something like that. And a lot of these leveraged ETFs, they use options to basically get to that return, right? So they're using options and puts and calls and whatnot to get to those leveraged returns, right? Which can be a little bit more risky. And also MSOX, it hasn't been around that long. So, but I mean, for the most part, a lot of these names are down so much right now, 90, 80, 90+% from their all-time highs. As long, like, you could probably, like, MSOS is only like 5% of my portfolio, like very, very small amount. I think we can do a better job picking our own. Check out my top 5 MJ holdings, and I did another video on my entire MJ portfolio breakdown with percentages. Excuse me, it's sort of changed a little bit as I've been adding, but keep in mind too, it's tax loss selling into the end of the year. And if you're in Canada, if you're like me, you're waiting for your TFSA, your tax-free savings account, to get more contribution room. So I'm kind of hoping that, wishful thinking, and we've been in a 3-year bear market, so what's another couple months? Hopefully MJ stays low until January, and then I'll get an extra $6,500 that I can put into my TFSA, and that'll be tax sheltered, right? So any gains that I have in that account will be tax free. And, tax loss selling as well could hurt MJ stocks into the end of the year here. But keep in mind, I think what's the settlement time for tax loss selling? When to sell for tax loss harvesting in 2023. Last day in 2023 is December 27th, 2023. So, it takes three days to settle. So when you sell a stock, you're like, oh, what do you mean? I sold it and I got the money and cash is in my account. Well, on the back end, they have like the DTCC, right? Like clearinghouses and things like that, where it actually takes like 3 days to settle. And through blockchain, right? Through like crypto and blockchain, they're going to reduce that settlement down to like seconds, right? So eventually, all of this will be done in seconds. And the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, has already approved unanimously to increase that settlement time down to that much lower time frame. So that's something they're working on. And again, another application of why blockchain is going to be so huge. But keep in mind that tax loss selling will persist into December 27th of this year. And then beginning part of January, I think, is where we're going to start to see MJ stocks really start to kick into high gear. No pun intended. But I'm in the camp that I'm kind of hoping that, into 2024, we get to add, even if some names go up, like, for example, if CGC goes up 100% from here, at $1.20, that's still, 50x from all-time highs, right? So it's all relative and still fairly cheap. So that'll be my plan going into the end of the year. I love tan lines. Thanks for the update video. It was great. You're welcome. My pleasure, Henry. After year after year, everything in the world seems to be coming earlier. Same goes with the markets. Bull runs and bear runs are starting to happen earlier than the previous year. Yeah, and like I said, they're usually fast and explosive, and they don't last very long. But that'll change, right? Eventually, the bear markets will be quick. Look at Netflix, right? Netflix went up forever, and then in like 6 months, it dropped 80%. And then now it's starting to trend back up again, right? And then if you zoom out on like the Amazon chart, after it dropped 95%, it's just been up and to the right? So as the things mature and we start to see more innovation, more adoption, more critical mass, then it's harder to drop these names, right? Any thoughts on CGC earnings next week? Good question. Excuse me. Sorry for all the throat nonsense. I've got this brutal cold and frog in my throat. So I'm not sure if you want to look at the US or the Canadian names, so we can take a look at what analysts are expecting. So just go down to financials, earnings estimates. I really like investing.com's earnings estimates. I think they're the most reliable. But yeah, November 9th, they're expecting 103.5 million Canadian and negative 0.1649 for EPS, earnings per share. So they are still forecasting a loss, but a slightly smaller loss than the previous quarter. And they're expecting higher revenue than the previous quarter, but lower than the actual revenue. So forecast is higher than last forecast, but lower than the actual revenue that came in last quarter. So if we don't beat 103 revenue Canadian, and if we see a worse EPS of negative 0.16, that's going to be bad. If we see 108 or 110 and a big beat on revenue, and we come in at like negative 0.10 on EPS, and we have a big beat there, then the stock could, see a lot of upside. So and again, all of that has to do with what the sector's doing, what the broader market's doing, right? So that's why earnings is always a gamble, in my opinion. But yeah, I just kind of, when it comes to earnings, I just look at what the analysts' estimates and consensus are, and then I look at the broader market. I look at the most likely scenario on headwinds and tailwinds from that broader market, and then look at the rest of the sector, see, what the state of affairs is there. And then, bearing any other news that comes up, then we just look at what the actual numbers are when they come in. And then if they beat by a lot, and then it has to depend on if the stock runs too, right? Like if CG runs into earnings, if CGC runs from like 60 cents to 80 cents into earnings and they miss, well, then it's probably going to drop like a rock. If it's getting beaten down for multiple months and it's down 40% leading into earnings over the last week or so, and it has a big beat, then it's likely going to see a massive upside, right? So again, we just kind of play it by ear and day by day. And right now, we do have a low, high, higher low, and higher high daily uptrend confirming, and an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross occurring. But earnings aren't until Thursday next week, so we're more than likely due for a cool-off session. Like I said, the S&P 500 due for a daily higher low and pull back in red day, in my opinion, into early next week. That'll more than likely be a higher low on CGC. Maybe we pull back to 55 cents or so, form that daily higher low, maintain the daily uptrend, and then see a bullish reaction to earnings potentially. I think that could be the most likely scenario. I'm leaning bullish for sure. And then, like I said, coupled with the November 8th Florida adult use legalization ballot measure, we could get a decent catalyst string together here. My average for BZAM is $6.38. Got screwed on the merger. Do you think it will ever go back up? Such a huge swing, and I have 25,000 shares. I had 250,000 with TGOD. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Michael. I know it's brutal. I know a friend too. His dad, I think he had like $1 million into TGOD, and again, I don't think his net worth was like 10 or 20 million. So I could never ever imagine putting 100% of my net worth into one MJ stock, let alone the MJ sector. And I know you're probably not in that scenario, but I do know a lot of people who have lost a lot of money on TGOD, and I was one of them. I lost probably 5 figures on TGOD, but I was new, and that was like 4 years ago. And I'm glad I learned that with a small amount. And now I've just been dollar cost averaging, right? And focusing on the companies that, I've done a lot of research due diligence, and I'm very confident in it. But with regards to TGOD and BZAM, I mean, I would lump that in the category of like Aurora, MedMen, and Oxley. It's just, we just don't know. I mean, in theory, from current levels, if it goes back to all-time highs, you're looking at about a 12x. So it's not, I think there's better risk to reward opportunities out there. I've tried a couple of their products. I've done a review of their gummies as well, the wild gummies. they're okay. I don't see the value proposition here. Like the whole thing with TGOG was it was organic, right? And now it's BZAM, so it's like organic isn't even part of their marketing anymore, it seems. But not a name I follow that closely. Yeah, if I were you, I'd really sit down and take a good look, because like, it'd be different if BZAM was at these prices and Tilray was at all-time highs, or CGC was at all-time highs, but like everything's pretty low at the moment. So you could even, not financial advice, this is for entertainment purposes only and informational purposes only, but if I were in your position, and like, I don't know, like, is BZAM your only holding? Do you have other MJ stocks? Do you have US producers, Canadian producers, retailers, ETFs? Like, what is it your only holding? That'll all differ, right? That'll change the scenario drastically, and no two people's investment thesis or risk profile is the same. So if I just wouldn't be able to give you an answer on what I would do, because there's a lot of variables that just haven't been filled in for me, right? Is it your only stock? Maybe we can talk about that. Also, if you want to consider joining POW Group, you can go to powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com, and I can give you a little bit more tailored response in there. We can do some coaching, which is all on the website as well. And then I can find out a little bit more about your scenario and your situation. But, just based on your average and how many shares you have, that doesn't really paint a nice picture for me to give you an accurate response on what I would do. And that's all I could do, is tell you what I would do. I can't legally tell you what to do because I'm not a financial advisor. Yeah, not really showing much. Cheers. You bet. Get well soon. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Feeling a little bit better. I went in the sauna before the live stream and try to sweat it out. Is SNDL and Nova ever going to get that merger done? I would say so. Actually, one of my tenants that just signed a lease on my long-term condo works for Alcanna, which is a subsidiary of SNDL. So a liquor store, Ace Liquor, and I think they will. CGC earnings next week. What do you think? Yeah, so I just went over that. Juan, you must have joined late, but I did go over that, so I assume you already typed that before I went over that. So if you haven't, you can just go back in the video. All right, going to end it there. Hope you have a great weekend ahead. I'm just going to check in on the POW Group private community here as well. See if there's any developments that came out. I think that's pretty much it. Also, make sure to follow us on X, previously Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPOW. And if you want to get any POW merchandise or MJ merchandise, Tilray, Cureleaf, Canopy, I got tons of options on there, such as powmerch.ca as well. Help support me in the channel. Getting a lot of great feedback from it. And yeah, excited to be back. Things should calm down a lot into next week. And like I said, if I can get over this sickness, then all systems go for me back into my regular routine. But hopefully this video was helpful. And again, hope you have a great weekend ahead. It's Rod with POW Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. If you did find this video helpful and it was valuable, if you could smash the like, if you think I earned it, I would appreciate it. Share the video with your network, and we'll see you again on the next update. Take care.